Hi, and welcome into Meet Me in the Movies Open Dialogue. My name is Thomas Manning, and you may remember a few weeks ago I spoke to writer and director Bruce Bellocchi about his film, The Legend of Jack and Diane, which was one of Tom Sizemore's final film roles. And I've stayed in contact with Bruce, and he was kind enough to connect me with his producing partner, Paul Faust. Paul has a really interesting career that we talk about in this conversation as an entrepreneur, and he's someone who's popped up on a handful of film sets over the years, including The Office, where he played himself in an episode.
Paul Faust of Disaster Kits Limited. They call him Cool Guy Paul.
And he's working with Bruce on all of his films with their production company. And here we are talking about the work on the film Love Kills. And they have a few more films coming down the pipeline. So it was really a fun conversation talking with Paul Faust. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Hope you all enjoy. So I know that for most of your career, you've been an entrepreneur and you occasionally just happen to find yourself in acting roles. So was acting something that you always hoped you'd be able to do in some capacity?
Yeah, I've always liked to perform. I've always been in acting. I was in a theater group in high school. It was called PACE, Performing Arts Curriculum Experience. So I did plays, and I had thought at one point that I almost would drop out of college to go to Lee Strasberg, and like this is so cool. I want to be an actor because you get to be a movie star and famous. But then I realized very quickly that I did not have the dedication of other people in the business who were willing to wait tables, drive a cab, sleep in a car, whatever it took. I just enjoyed it being, sort of a performer, which I would do everywhere I was. So I said, you know what, I'm going to pursue, what I think is a better option for me, which is being a business guy, being an entrepreneur. But it was always in the back of my head, like that'd be really cool to do someday. Like, I would used to joke around. Well, if somebody walked down the street and said, "I need you for a role," I'd be like, "That's what would be fun to do." So yeah, it was always in the back of my head, and something I just enjoy, you know, the process and making people laugh and being creative. So
And for Bruce Bellocchi, I only met him, last month for the first time when he was talking about The Legend of Jack and Diane. And so how far back do you and Bruce go, and when did that creative partnership between you two begin?
not long. It's only been about it's like a little over a year, maybe a year and a few months. I had moved to Florida. I met another couple. Guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we meet up?" I said, "Yeah." Met up. He goes, "Look, I'm doing this film with this guy Bruce Bellocchi. Could use some help raising some funds. Can you help out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know a lot of business guys, entrepreneurs. Sounds like fun. We could do." So I helped raise some money for a legend, got some guys involved. Then I said, "Well, here's the only caveat is I got to be in the movie." And I don't mean, I don't have to be part of it, be an extra, whatever. Just have fun, just to be on set. And so that process, what was going on, I had never met Bruce. Flew out to the set, spent like 4 days in California and hung out on the set and met Bruce, and a real interesting guy, and invested in the company. And then literally spent a little bit of time with Bruce, not a lot, because when he's working, he's working. Like, don't bother him. He's in the creative process. So we really didn't spend a lot of time together on the set. But got to know each other a little bit. And then fast forward, months down the road, Bruce wanted to keep making movies. That's what he does. He wanted to keep writing, and reached out to me and said, "Look, this other company that we're involved in, we're just not moving forward. Like, they're not raising the funds. We're not talking. So we should do something." And I'm like, "That sounds fun." I'm like, "You know how to write and direct. I know people who could, invest stuff." So then we just formed Bellocchi Films, and like, let's just make one. Let's just see what happens. See the process together. And we raised funds. It was, micro budget film, Love Kills. Raised it quickly. Everyone said you can't do it. I'm like, okay, I love that I can't do it. And then I said, we're going to shoot it in 5 days. I'm like, you can't shoot a movie in 5 days. And I'm like, well, we did that. And so we pulled it off. And we're like, well, that was fun. Obviously it's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of arguing, and there's a lot of things that go wrong, but we worked through them and pulled it off. And now it's, we're waiting on the distributor to get it up.
And so on the business side of things, how has that come into play for you, and how has that been very important for you as you navigate throughout Bruce's production company, well, your and Bruce's production company, and also the industry in general?
Yeah, like for me, it's a whole foreign language, the way the industry works, and I'm trying to learn it. Bruce obviously has been in it for a long, long time. Um, Bruce doesn't come from the businessman side. I mean, he's got business background. You know, what's helped me out is I know a lot of business guys who have capital to invest. I also know a lot of creative people. Bruce knows how to write scripts, and we get together and bounce ideas off each other in terms of writing. But I leave the sort of the scripts to him, and but it helped me that A, knowing people, B, knowing what I don't know, knowing how to ask people like, hey, how would you do this? Thinking like an entrepreneur. People say you can't do this or that. It's not the way it's done. I'm like, okay, I don't really get that. Trying to leverage other ideas and trying to be creative in how we market, making micro budget films. When you're making micro budget movies, you're not getting Tom Cruise. You're not getting, the top, that you have to be creative, and that's sort of what an entrepreneur does. How do you squeeze the most out of things? How do you leverage time and talents, and how do you get people who are bought into the project that want to do it because they love the creative project, and they might be the lighting guy, but they're okay, filling up the cooler when they're not doing lighting or things like that. Like either you buy into what we're doing and making these creative films and doing it our way, or you don't. If you don't, that's okay. Other people will. So I think being an entrepreneur and having, being the president of a company and building businesses helped that. And also it's really about understanding people and what motivates people and how to lift people up and how to get a team to buy in. That all comes from being a business owner.
And for you, as someone who's just a film fan in general, what genres do you find yourself gravitating toward? And what have you enjoyed about working with Bruce in these crime drama films?
Well, I like everything. I tend to like action movies, your sort of Navy SEAL spy kind of genre. I love comedy. Not, people have to understand when you make a film like the film we made, it might not be for me, even though we made it. It's a different story. It's a different audience. But there was a Sharknado. I would never watch it. I think they made $1 billion franchise out of it. I want it, like, if I could do anything, like, yeah, we want to do some funny comedies, and look, I'd love to do a cool sort of more action pick, but that's bigger budgets, stunts, and it's more locations. It's harder to do. So when you're making lower budget movies, there's only so much you can do with story, and it's really about the script. So Love Kills, was one he wanted to do, and he had the idea for a while. It worked out that we were able to do it in, minimal location, and for a first go around, it was a good project to get into, and then realize all the stuff that we were doing wrong together, never worked together like that. I'm learning the process of, didn't realize that. Wait a minute, we need that. So it's really being an independent film company, and just really Bruce and it's like, I'm like, Bruce, I got a cool idea. What if I'm doing a Zoom interview with a guy and he's got a Beatles poster in the back, and then one of the Beatles comes alive? Like, you just throw ideas out, and Bruce is like, okay, I love it, leave me alone. And then he goes and writes. Like, I would probably have 7 scripts that just came out of conversations, and he's like, okay, write that down. We can make that. So it's really fun when you control what you want to make. I think that was why Bruce took this route. He's been writing scripts for a long time, and then when you sell the script or someone buys it, they can take creative control and change it. And Bruce doesn't want that. He wants it's his vision. So I think that's really fun, is that we're bound by nothing. Our own creativity, if we can get people to back us and build this machine of kind of projects we enjoy and tell story.
And so in working with limited resources and limited budget, how specifically does that like open up your creativity and inspire certain things that maybe otherwise on a bigger set or with bigger resources, you wouldn't have found that inspiration for?
Yeah, it's like being an entrepreneur. It's like, you might be the president of the company and the founder. You also are the receptionist. You also have to take out the garbage. And on Love Kills, I'm in the movie. I'm also executive producer. That doesn't mean I get to sit in a fancy chair that says executive producer. That means we're out of water on the set. That means A neighbor's complaining about cars parked. I got to go deal with them. It means, oh crap, we're running over. We asked these guys to work for X amount of hours. It's going to take another hour. Can we talk to them and make, whatever? So you have to be creative. You have to have a team around you, first of all, that buys in. If the team doesn't buy in, if you get somebody who says, look, you asked me for 6 hours, it's 6 hours, goodbye, it doesn't work because things go wrong. We could, we're making this movie, we have a shoot, people are in town. What happens if some guy, the fire alarm goes off in the house across the street, it's ringing all night? Well, we can't shoot. Or, we shot our last scene in a backyard. What would have happened if the neighbor decided that night, it was a Saturday night, I think, decided to have a party and there's loud music playing? Our mics would pick that up. What would we have done? So you have to think through all that stuff. Like, well, maybe we go to the neighbors and we invite them to be in the movie. We make them background. Like, you have to be creative, flexible. Look, we were going to shoot at a house with a pool. It was a pool backyard scene with a big pool party. Like a week and a half before, 2 weeks before, we lost the house. So, they said they can't do it. The town won't let them. So like, So we converted Bruce's backyard to a park. We built a bar. We built a beach. Like, you scramble. It's again, in the world of being an entrepreneur, you just solve problems. A problem is just a solution waiting to happen. So that's a difference. When you have money, you can just throw money at the problem. So, all right, we need this. Good. Go get another house. Here's money. Some woman yelled at me. She's like, "Why are you shooting here? Why aren't you using a studio?" And because money. Like, we have to be creative. So really fun to do, I think. And I've been on the bigger side. I mean, I've been around a bigger production where it's like they don't care. There's 4,000 assistants, and we can't shoot today. Shoot tomorrow.
And when I was talking to Bruce last week, he mentioned that I definitely had to ask you about your experience on The Office, where in season 4 you played yourself in an episode. And I know it's a story you've told a million times, but I just want to give you the chance to tell it again to our audience out there and just give a little bit of a rundown on that experience.
Yeah, it doesn't happen much that you get to play yourself. So my wife's family, Greg Daniels' cousins, created The Office. Paul Lieberstein, who plays Toby. I was in California, and this is the life of an entrepreneur, and why if your head's up and you're looking for opportunities, they come by you every day. Most people just miss them. I spent the day on the set. I called them, I'm like, hey, I'm a huge fan. Could I come by and watch you guys work? So I went to the set, spent the whole day there, meeting everybody. I mean, from security to craft food service to the actors, this. Greg Daniels says to me, hey, you want to meet the writers? I'm like, yeah, I want to see the whole process. So I go to the writer's room, and he's like, this is my cousin Paul. He's a little bit crazy. Tell him what you do. And I happen to talk about one of our other businesses called 1-800-PREPARE, which is a disaster kit business that we had started. I think there had been an earthquake in California, and so I just kind of rambled about it for like 3 minutes. All right, got to go. We got work to do. I walk out of the room. And unbeknownst to me, when I left the room, BJ Novak said, that guy's got to be a character on the show. Wrote a part based on me. I get a call the day I'm in New York. I get a call from Paul Lieberstein, who plays Toby. He says, hey, Paul, it's Paul. I don't know if you want to do this or you have any interest, or if even you can do it, but we're shooting a scene tomorrow. You were the inspiration for the character. We can't find an actor to play the part. Do you want to audition to play the part? And that's how it happened. I auditioned on this and sent it in, got the part. 5 hours later, I was on an airplane. And the next morning we shot the scene. Totally like unexpected. But those opportunities are out there if you seize them. And, even though it was a small part, The Office is such a, dedicated fan base, and they know things, and, people recognize me. I went to go to the Office convention. Like it was just such a great experience to be let behind the curtain in anything, anything that you're a fan of. Like if you're a fan of baseball, getting on the field to, shag some ground balls once, like it's just to be able to get behind the curtain of something you like is really cool experience.
And obviously, when you're on that set, you're surrounded by all these legendary comedians. So is there a particular conversation or moment that you can recall from being on set that just stands out as a great example of one of these comedians being at the top of their game, or just something that reminded you that, man, I'm just surrounded by comedy royalty here?
Yeah, right when we're about to shoot, first time, it's sort of this, oh my God, I'm about to shoot on The Office. Quiet on the set. All right, camera's going up, rolling. And Brian Baumgartner turns and goes, nobody F up, Paul. Like I'm new. It's my first time. Obviously, like I'm I'm doing the office, and like right when they say cameras, okay, rolling, and he goes, nobody F up, Paul, and looks right at me like so like this what this is, but this is the way they are. Like they're really funny. There's a script, but for me and for the other bit players, whatever, those guys have a concept and they have a script. But if we shot 30 times, like they said different stuff almost every time. And I was supposed to sit there like this. These guys are really funny. And I don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. They'll tweak a line, they'll change something, they'll look at you weird, and it's really hard not to want to laugh. But the people in the office, and I'm talking not the actors, camera crew, lighting, directors, writers. It was like a big family. And this is where they went to work every day. So they were going to have fun doing it and didn't mind, messing with, new people and other stuff. So it was cool, but everybody was super supportive. Bob Vance, Bobby Schaefer, Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. He's like, I got you, I'll show you what to do, where we're going. So he was, people were very cool about it, but also they have a lot of fun. So I'm blessed that I got to be kind of let into the world a little bit. Made a lot of great friends now from the show.
Yeah, and I know that a couple years ago you were on Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey's podcast to kind of break that down. So, what was that experience like for you to go back and revisit that and just have an extended dialogue about it?
Oh, look, it's great that this show is so different that people will remember a 60-second scene, and that when the Jenna and Angela were breaking down episodes, because that's what they do, they wanted to talk about that scene and the story of how it happened, because it is, it's kind of that some guy who visits the set is now on the show, and it's I love that it interests people. Then I can tell people the story, and maybe I tell people, look, you want to do this stuff, it can happen, like it happens. So it's fun for me to look, anybody who tells you they don't enjoy their 15 minutes of fame or being, but I have like I've told people, we do these office conventions now. I've been two of them. Arnold and Jesse put on. It's called the Reunion. Just finished one in Chicago. The first one was in Jersey and Chicago. They're planning the next one. Haven't announced the location. We had about 30 cast members. Everyone from Toby and Rainn Wilson and Kate Flannery and Leslie and Creed and then a lot of us who were on 1, 2, 3 episodes. Blake and Tug who play the Halper brothers. Callan. It was just like great. The fact that I'm going to walk around this conference I'm at, nobody cares. I go home with my friends, nobody cares. I go to the grocery store, nobody cares away. You get to an environment of office fans, and it's really cool that you can have a reaction on people, that people, get excited to meet you. Like, I'm the same guy you're talking to. I was out last night at a bar in Houston. Nobody cared. That I was there. It's kind of really neat to be in an environment where people, I could bring joy to somebody just by meeting them, just by signing an autograph, just by taking a picture, sending a video to their nephew or their kid. It's really a beautiful power or gift that I was given, and that I think a lot of actors, a lot of athletes, musicians have. And I wish everybody got to feel what it felt like to be walking down a hallway and going, oh my God, look who it is. And stopping and saying, what's up, guys? Like, how are you? Like, I'm just like you. I'm no different. I just happen to, I'm a fan of the show. If I didn't get on the show, I'd probably be at the convention waiting online to get, Brian Baumgartner's autograph. But it's a really cool thing to be able to have that effect on people. It's, and if using it in a positive light, try and help people out, try and lift people up, try and make people feel good. If I could do that, by the very nature that I got to be on a TV show, wow, how lucky am I? So I think more people have to understand that, and it's not just actors or athletes or entertainers, it's coaches, it's teachers, it's firefighters, it's whoever. There are people that look up to you for whatever reason. It could be crazy. Yeah, it's freaking crazy that I was on a show for 60 seconds and it excites people to meet me. It's crazy, but it is what it is. I'm going to harness it for good and to make people feel good and make people feel happy and spread love and joy.
And looking back to more of your work with Bruce, I know you've got this one, Love Kills, and you've got a few others along the way. So what are you most looking forward to with these future stories you're going to be telling? And, what are you looking forward to in the challenging aspects of those films?
Yeah, well, we got another one coming up. We're hopefully going to shoot in August. It's Bruce is super passionate about it. The title right now is One. Say it's a boxing pick, but it's really not. It's just that's the backdrop. It's really a relationship pick and people saving each other. And it's Bruce's passion project. Really excited to do it. Okay, we worked together once. We made some mistakes. It could have been better here. The story could have been better there. This was okay. Now we've got through that groove. We're bringing back some of the same people we worked at, some new people. We now have a better vision on how we can maybe tweak things up a little bigger budget. Like we're excited about this one because I think it's an amazing story. And I got my work at ringboost.com where I'm the president, business. I'm going down to the conference, then work. And then for 2 weeks in August, we get to, be on a set creating a vision of what Bruce had in his head that's now on paper. I'm really excited to see who we're going to get to be in it, the creative process around it, and everybody's input. Because when you make these independent films and like people get involved. It could be the actors, it could be this. Someone say, "Hey, what if we do this?" So we're changing up the story and the scripts and ideas like during shooting. So I'm really excited to like. You want to see if this beautiful concept on paper we can execute onto a good film, right? A lot of people have great ideas like, well, that was a good idea on paper. So I'm excited to work hard, put together a great piece of art, a great film that we think people, will relate to. I think it's a great story. Now it's just up to us to make it right. So, and then I'm excited to do it and put all of our effort into it. And then when it's done, start the next one. Like we'd make one every month if we could. Like it's really fun to make movies and be creative and tell story.
Well, I'm sure I'll be talking to you more and Bruce more about those films and looking forward to those conversations and looking forward to seeing more people get a chance to check out your work. So, Paul, it was great to meet you and I appreciate your time today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. You got to come, we'll let you know when we're shooting. You want to come down to the set, hang out, we'll chuck you the scene. You can have some fun with us. We love meeting people and getting people involved. Do love this stuff. Bring it out to your listeners, your fans, and like, let's see what we do creatively together. All help each other out.
Dude, by all means, you say the word and I'll be there.
Love
So,
it. So yeah, check when Love Kills comes out on Amazon. Check it out for us. You can also see Bruce's the one Legend Jack and Diane. That one's up already. Love Kills will be out soon. Appreciate support and honest feedback.
awesome. Well, great to meet you and safe travels and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I'll see you.
Good luck.